Hi everyone and welcome back to the biology class of Fun Scholar. So today after some days I am back with another topic, that is the living creatures. So this is the chapter of CBSE Standard 6, and in this chapter we will be mainly exploring the characteristics of the living creatures. We will differentiate the characteristics of the living and that of the non-living creatures, and then we'll also understand some of the life cycles of animals such as the frog and of the insect, that is the butterfly. So, in this chapter, let's have a look and explore the living creatures. So, let's begin. Now, there are some of the characteristics which actually are unique to the living creatures or the living things. Some of them are movement, growth, reproduction, and respond to the environment. Now, each one is important to ascertain whether any object or any creature is living or non-living. So, firstly, coming to the movement. So, in case of living creatures, they can move on their own, right? Such as we can move, animals can move, but the plants do not move at all. So, should we include them under non-living? No, not at all. Because even if they cannot locomote or move from one place to another, but they definitely show movement such as the growth, right? Growth, their increase in height, their increase in the girth, and also their change in direction according to the stimuli received from the environment. So in that manner they show the growth. Next point is growth. Now in terms of growth, living creatures, they actually increase in height and weight as by the passing years. Now, in case of non-living creatures, we do not see such features. So, if you keep a pen in one place for many years, but it will remain of the same size, it will not change. But had it been a living thing, then its size would have changed. So, growth is another characteristic of living things. Then we have reproduction. Reproduction means that giving birth to the young ones. And the importance of reproduction is that it helps to continue the species and maintain this continuity through generations on this earth. So, reproduction is an important feature for the living creatures. The non-living creatures cannot reproduce. Then respond to the environment. The living things, as already delineated some time before, that they respond to the stimuli. For example, if a plant receives light, which is an environmental stimuli, then the shoot portion will move towards light and the root portion will move away from the light. Similarly, if there is darkness, then the root portion will move towards the darkness, but the shoot portion will move away from the darkness. Then there are some categories of plants which show instant movement, such as the touch-me-not plant or the insectivorous plants. In case of the touch-me-not plants, they curl up as soon as we touch the leaves. And in case of the insectivorous plants such as the pitcher plant or the Venus flytrap, the leaves close as soon as the insects sit on the leaves. So these are the certain kinds of movement or the response to stimuli that you can see in case of living creatures only. Now, the characteristics of non-living things are in stark contrast with that of the living creatures. They are called inanimate objects because they do not have life, and living creatures are animate objects who have got life and can move also, and they cannot grow on their own. For example, a table of certain length is there. Now, if I would like to change the length of the table, I can either shorten that by cutting down the length, or I can elongate that table by adding some more or another piece of any wooden block. So they are growing because we are making them grow. It's not their individual property. Then no reproduction. That means if I have got one mobile phone, that mobile phone will never give birth to another mobile phone, right? So therefore, this feature is also not available for the living creatures. Now, let's watch a video regarding the characteristics of the life or the living things, and then we'll discuss further.
Look at this bench. There is a man sitting on it. What is the basic difference between the man is a living being while the bench is not living. But what makes us living beings and these objects like the bench, a stove, vehicles, gadgets, and other similar objects non-living things? The simple answer is the characteristics that are possessed by living organisms which are absent in the non-living forms. Now let's have a look at the various characteristics that define life. Let's list them first. A few characters that only living organisms possess include movement and locomotion, respiration, reproduction, growth, and a body made up of cells that can carry out metabolism. Now let's try understanding each listed item. First on the list is movement and locomotion. Let us take a simple example of the human sitting on the bench. Do you think this human will sit here on this bench for his entire life? I hope your answer is a resounding no. He will stand up and go home after some time. However, this bench will never move. It will always be here. And that is the basic difference. Living beings can move as well as locomote. They can move while staying in the same spot and locomote, which is travel to some other place. On the other hand, non-living objects can never do this. They can neither move nor locomote. Now tell me, while walking along the street, you see a person lying on the ground and you wish to help him. What will you do first? Instinctively, we check is the person still alive. But we're not doctors. So how can we figure if the person is alive or dead? The simplest way to check is the person breathing or not. So that leads us to the next characteristic on our list. Respiration, which is breathing combined with utilizing the oxygen for breaking down food and releasing energy, is one of the most important characteristics of life. Living organisms respire, which means they breathe by taking in oxygen and giving out carbon dioxide. The oxygen inhaled is then utilized by the body for deriving the necessary energy by breaking down the food that we consume. Keep in mind, none of these processes occur in non-living objects. Non-living things do not respire. So, these were the first two characteristics that help us differentiate between living organisms and non-living objects. Next, we will look at a few more characteristics.
So therefore, in the video that we watched just now, we have got an idea how the first two characteristics define the status of living creatures. Now, let's understand the features one by one. First here is the nutrition. Nutrition means taking in the food in simple words. So it is essential for all living organisms because it provides the energy and materials needed for survival, growth and overall well-being. That means nutrition has got, it is the process through which we take in the food. Food means consisting of all the nutrients which will be utilized by the body. So, and the purpose of utilization they are given here, that is survival, growth and the well-being means fighting against the diseases, maintaining the overall immunity of the body. Now, the importance of nutrition has been summed up here in terms of four basic actions. Number one is that energy for activities. We all know that we take in food in order to get energy because food will be broken down in the digestive system and then will be absorbed by blood, and then with the help of blood it will reach to all the cells of the body where the food will be broken down by utilizing oxygen and then the energy will be released. So this energy then is utilized for daily activities such as talking, then walking, running or studying, whatever you say. Next thing is growth and repair. I already discussed that growth is an important feature of living organisms. But in order for growth to take place, energy is required and also repair. Repair means when a part or any tissue of our body is damaged. So then it needs the repair. So for that repairing process also energy is required. Third thing, we need energy to carry out life processes. What are the life processes? Life processes are those processes which are essential in order to sustain life. For example, respiration, digestion, excretion, circulation, all these processes help to maintain life. That is why they are called the life processes. And in each of this process, huge amount of energy is expended. That is why energy is required from nutrition. Last but not the least, the last reason for nutrition requirement is maintenance of health. That means the immune system also requires energy to build up the antibodies to fight against the pathogens, then also to maintain the overall health and also maintain a stable life. Then coming to the second property, that is respiration. In the video also you have watched that respiration and breathing, they are related but also somewhat different from each other. So in case of breathing, it is simply the inhalation of oxygen and exhalation of carbon dioxide. And in case of respiration, it is the utilization of that inhaled oxygen to break down the food that we take in the process of nutrition and release the energy. Again, another point of difference is that in case of the breathing, it takes place in a particular organ. For example, in case of humans, we have got lungs as the breathing organ. But for respiration, it takes place in each cell of our body in order to release energy. Now, respiration is vital for all living organisms because it provides the energy they need to survive and perform essential life processes. So, energy is produced, then this respiration also helps us to adapt to the environment. What is this adaptation? Adaptation means the change. That means we say habituated. So the being habituated to another environment. For example, now in the summer vacation, most of you must be planning to go to the hill stations. So just calculate before going what is your respiration or the breathing rate. Breathing rate means number of times you inhale and exhale in a minute, and it is on an average 18 times per minute. But when you are climbing up a hill or a mountain or going for a trekking, so you will see that the breathing rate will automatically increase because the body needs more of oxygen supply to provide more of energy for that heavy activity. So, and also whenever in the cold climatic conditions, there will be some other changes in the body, so as the change in the circulation of the blood also. So there also the respiration helps to cope up with this change of the body. Now this adaptation helps us to mold ourselves in the changing environment. So we cannot stay in the same environment all throughout our life. For different purpose or for different needs, we need to travel from cold regions to humid regions or to dry regions. But if we cannot adapt, then obviously we will be suffering. First we will be facing difficulty, and then it will be very uneasy and uncomfortable for us to live comfortably in that place. Then we have maintaining body functions in the importance of respirations. So the respiration also helps us, as I told you, to maintain the other body functions properly, such as the circulation of the blood and also the pumping of the heart. So the gaseous exchange in the cells, in the each cell of our body. So this process is very vital for all living organisms. Then what is stomata and how it helps in respiration? Now in the last case we actually discussed the case of respiration for animals. Animals means for all the category of animals including human beings, but here we will focus particularly on plants. So what happens? Stomata are the small opening, the pores which are present all the more on the underneath surface of the leaves, and they are the sites where the gaseous exchange takes place. So particularly during the night time when sun is not there and photosynthesis is not taking place, we can see that plants will take in oxygen just like any other living organisms and give out carbon dioxide. So this stomata act as a vital organ, or we can say a vital spot through which this gaseous exchange takes place, and these are the breathing sites of the plants, and they facilitate respiration because this oxygen, just like the animal cells, they will reach all the cells of the plant body, and there the mitochondria are present to break down the food prepared by photosynthesis by the plants and release energy, and this energy will be then utilized for supporting various life processes for plants like photosynthesis, respiration, growth, reproduction, so on and so forth. And this, you can see here the stomata play an important role in the respiration of the plants because they help in getting in the oxygen and then giving out the carbon dioxide. Now coming to the next process, next important life process for all living organisms, that is excretion. Excretion is very necessary, and it is the cleanup system for the body, and body means both the animal body and the plant body. It helps us to get rid of the waste products so that we can maintain a healthy balanced life, and we can function, all the cells of our body can function properly. Now waste are produced continuously as a result of the various life processes that are going on inside our body, or as a result of the metabolic activities that are taking place in each cell of our body. Now these waste products need to be removed so that in order to clear up the space also, so that the nutrients can get in, and also the important products can be utilized, and also to avoid the toxicity being built inside the system of the body. So if the products which are not necessary by the plant body or the animal body are not excreted, then it will ultimately harm the plant body or the animal body. It can lead to the formation of diseases also. So therefore it is better that it is excreted as soon as it is produced in the plant body or the animal body. As I told you, see, it is the removal of the harmful waste, and it will prevent disease because it won't allow the buildup of toxicity inside the body, and in this manner it will help maintain a homeostasis. Homeostasis is nothing but the internal balance in which all the cells will be performing in sync with each other, and also they are in perfect condition, and they are carrying out their roles perfectly according to the division of labor. So these response and stimulus. And now anything that causes a living being to react or respond is called a stimulus. Now this stimulus can be any touch, light, temperature, humidity, wind, anything can be the stimulus, because this trigger our system to react. So any trigger or environmental cue can be termed as stimulus, and the living organisms have got a particular property to respond to this stimulus, but the non-living organisms don't have this property. Now reproduction also, as I told you, it is giving birth to the young ones, and it helps to maintain their species and adapt to the world. That means in case it happens in mostly in case of sexual reproduction, that when the two different gametes, that is the male gamete and the female gamete, will fuse together to form the zygote. That zygote will further divide, form embryo, and that will give rise to the adult species. So then what will happen? It will bring about the genetic changes, and these genetic changes will help that species or that organism to maintain itself or survive in the changing environment. And also if reproduction is not there, so completely certain species will be wiped out from the face of the earth, and that will bring about imbalance in the food web and the ecosystem as a whole. Now coming to seed germination. What is seed germination? Seed germination is the process by which a seed will grow into a new plant. And how it germinates? When a seed is formed after the fertilization process in the flower, so then it contains the embryo. That means after the male gamete, that means the pollen, and the female gamete, that means the ovule, will fuse in the flower. So then what will happen? It will form the ovary within which the fertilization will take place. It will turn and get converted into fruit, and the ovules will get converted into the seed, and within the seed the zygote will further develop into an embryo by undergoing cell division. Then by becoming an embryo, it will remain arrested in that form until and unless the optimum condition arrives, in which the seed will get the proper temperature, air, water, and it will get the proper substratum to grow. right? So therefore seed germination is the process in which the embryo inside the seed will become active by getting all these prerequisites, and then it will start growing into a seedling, and then consequently into a sapling, and then an adult plant body. So what are the requirements for seed germination? The requirements are given here, that is the air. From the air it will get the oxygen to respire, because that is a living thing or a living creature. Then water will be needed, so and sunlight. Sunlight is also necessary for the seed germination, and when the seedling is prepared to cook its own food with the help of its own newly formed leaves, then this sunlight also help in this process of photosynthesis. Now some seeds like coleus and petunia need light to sprout. So they shouldn't be covered with soil. So that means usually we put the seeds inside the soil, but some seeds such as of the flowering plants, petunia and coleus, so they need light in order to germinate. So they should only be spread on the surface of the soil. They should not be buried in the soil. And others like calendula and genia need darkness and should be buried under enough soil in order for them to germinate. Now what will happen if we grow a sprouted seed upright and inverted? So that means if we make it after the seed germination, when the embryo has formed the seedling, and then we have inverted it. So again they will show the property of response to stimuli, and since the leaves or the shoot, they will not grow towards the gravity or towards the darkness, so they will turn over and start growing upward, and on the other hand the newly formed roots will again turn over and start growing downwards towards the soil. So therefore even if you change the position of the seedling, but their position in which they will grow their parts, that means the root and the shoot, that will not change. Now this is the life cycle of a plant. So first we can start with the seed. So we have a seed, and when the seed germinates it gives rise to the seedling. Now the seedling will eventually, it will grow and develop into a sapling, and finally it will grow into a mature plant. That plant will bear the flowers. The flowers will undergo fertilization, and then it will produce the fruits, and inside the fruit will again get the seed. So this is a cycle in which the life of a plant continues. Now life cycle of animals, as I told you, so this is the last section of this chapter in which we will try to understand the life cycles of animals such as the frog and the butterfly. So coming to the first one, the life cycle of a frog. Now, frogs are meat eaters that feed on insects, spiders, and other small animals. So we can say frogs are the carnivorous type of animals, and we know they are also the amphibians who spend much of their time on land but can also return to water. They escape predators by using their strong hind legs, means the legs which are present behind, to jump off, right? So and escape. So now let's start to understand the life cycle of frog. There are mainly 4 stages in the life cycle of a frog. It starts with egg, then tadpole, then froglet, and finally an adult frog. Then in each state we have got some distinct physical changes. So let's see what are those. The first stage is that of the eggs. Okay, so in the egg stage, so it is the starting stage, the first initial stage, and the female frogs lay these eggs in water and they lay them in a jelly like cluster. Cluster means in groups. You can refer to this image also given here, that it is jelly like, so it is semi solid type of thing, and it will be they will be laid in water only, because their life starts from the water and later on they get converted to, they can come off on the land and they can interchange their habitat. Then the eggs will hatch, and from those eggs tadpoles will come out. Now these tadpoles breathe with the help of gills. So just like fish, they have got gills as breathing organs, and they swim using their tails and feed on algae and aquatic plants. So they, in this stage, they can swim very well because they have got tails, and they do not actually look like an adult frog at all. You cannot say from this stage that it will turn into an adult frog, because the change from this stage to the frog stage is huge. So they will stay underwater only and feed on algae and aquatic plants, and they are able to breathe with the help of gills. Now, what is metamorphosis? Over several months, the tadpole goes through metamorphosis. That means, what is metamorphosis? Means it will grow legs and lungs. Why legs are necessary? Already discussed earlier, in order to escape from the predators and also help them to accommodate in the life on land. So in the on land, the tail is of no use, because tail can help them to swim underwater, but on land they need some of the organs which will help them to move. So those organs are the legs, and instead of the gills, now those will be replaced by lungs. So just like the lungs that we possess for breathing, the frogs also have got lungs for breathing, and its tail is absorbed into the body, means its tail will dissolve and transforming it into a froglet. That means a baby frog. So therefore this the huge change that will come from the full stage to the froglet stage, this changes together is known as metamorphosis, and it happens over several months. So that means it is not a hasty change that will happen overnight, so it will take time, but the huge change will come up ultimately, leading to the birth of a froglet. Now in the froglet stage, which is nothing but a tiny adult frog, these creatures can breathe both in air and water. Why? Because they have got the lungs to breathe in air, right? And for water, now they will be having the moist skin. So the moist skin helps the frogs to breathe underwater. Now it will grow further and mature to form a fully developed adult frog. Now, it's in the adult frog stage only, the tail is fully disappearing. Okay, so till the froglet stage, you can see here a small tail will be attached, but in the adult frog stage, the tail will be fully disappearing and the frog becomes an adult frog ready to reproduce and continue the life cycle and repeat it again. right? So it will again mate with the female frog, or if it is a female frog, it will mate with the male frog, produce eggs, and then again the stages will be repeated. So these are the four simple stages in the life cycle of a frog, starting from the egg and ending in the adult frog. So these are some of the key things to remember. And also one thing is to mention that at the adult frog stage, in order to swim, because at this stage the tail has disappeared, so they have developed another feature which will help them to swim. Can you guess what it is? It is the presence of the webbed feet. You must have seen the feet of the duck. So therefore the feet will be attached, or the actually the limbs will be attached to one another by a thin membrane that is known as webbed feet, such as the we can say the dress, or we can say the dress used by the scuba divers, which will help them to swim. So they act to paddle underwater. So they have developed this webbed feet to swim underwater and strong hind legs to jump on the surface of the land, and they have got lungs to breathe in air on land, and they have got the moist skin to breathe underwater. So these are the adaptive features of frogs that help them to sustain their life both on land and in water. Now next coming up is the life cycle of a butterfly. Butterfly, we know, is a beautiful, attractive insect that all of us we find fun in whenever we see a butterfly, and these butterflies are attracted to flowers. Why? Because butterfly actually feed on the nectar which are produced by the flowers. So whenever you have got a garden full of flowers which are in full bloom, say you will definitely be able to spot more than one butterflies in your garden. So butterflies are very attractive creatures. Now let's try to understand the life cycle stages of a butterfly. Now in case of butterfly, we know that the stage which is the young stage is completely different from the adult stage. We cannot say from the young stage that this creature is going to turn into a beautiful looking butterfly someday. Now what are the again four main stages in the life of a butterfly? That is the first, starting with the egg, then larva, then pupa, and finally the adult. Now the adult will again lay the egg, and in this way the whole cycle will keep on repeating itself. Now let's understand each stage in detail. The first stage is that of the egg stage. Now, butterfly eggs vary in shape and size, ranging from oval to round or even flat. So, the eggs actually vary in shape and size according to the species of the butterfly. There are thousands of species of butterflies. So, according to the species, the egg shape, size, color, everything will be varying. Butterflies lay their eggs on the leaves of trees or plants. Why? For two reasons. Number one, that when the eggs will hatch, so the larva that will come out will be able to feed on the leaf which is present at its disposal. That means immediately near to it, it will not have to go on searching for food. And number two, for protection. So the eggs, when it will be laid on the leaves, so therefore they will remain protected. They are very tiny in structure. You can refer here. And also the number of eggs vary between 1 to over 100. This also has got to do with the species of the butterfly that we are referring to. So everything will vary according to the species of the butterfly. The size, the color, then the number, the shape, everything will vary, but they usually lay their eggs on the leaves for feeding their young ones and for protection. Now, butterfly eggs are most commonly yellow or green in color. So, when they are yellow or green in color, they can easily camouflage in the color of the leaves so that predators cannot find those eggs easily. Now, caterpillars can take anywhere from 1 day to several months to hatch from the egg. So the next stage, that is the caterpillar stage or the larva stage. So the stage is called the larva stage, and the creature of this stage which hatch from the egg is known as the caterpillar, and it can take 1 day to several months to hatch from the egg. The leaf where the mother lays her eggs becomes the first food the caterpillar eats once it hatches, as I told you earlier only. Now stage 2 is the larva stage. Now when a butterfly hatches, it becomes a larva. Again, caterpillars in the larva stage can vary in size, shape and colors. There are over 20,000 different types of caterpillars. So just imagine the number of species of, or you can say the biodiversity of butterflies on this earth. So according to the species, the larva, you can say see here the types of larva stages or the types of caterpillars we can have for the butterflies. The main job of all caterpillars is to eat. So it has nothing to do in this stage. It will just keep on eating and growing bigger in size. Okay, and as a caterpillar grows, its skin does not grow. So its skin, which you can see, it is folded, but as the caterpillar will keep on eating and growing in size, but the skin size remains the same. There is a particular reason for this uniqueness. The caterpillar grows so big that it must shed its exoskeleton, that means the skin. So, and whenever it will shed its old tight exoskeleton, because it has outgrown it and can no more fit in that old exoskeleton or the skin, so it will shed it off just like snakes, and this process is known as molting, right? So molting is the process in which the caterpillar, which has outgrown the size of the exoskeleton, will shed off its skin, right? And then comes the next stage, that is the pupa stage. So in the pupa stage, what happened when the caterpillar shed its exoskeleton? So it will then attach itself to something resembling a twig, right? So you can see in this image here. So it has actually covered itself in a cocoon and then attached itself to a twig-like structure. So and it will leave a hanging stalk. So this is the hanging stalk with which this structure, the cocoon structure, will remain attached to the twig. And the sac, this is the sac within which the organism will stay before emerging out as a beautiful butterfly. So this structure will be known as the chrysalis. So the stage is the pupa stage, and the creature or the structure formed in this stage is known as the chrysalis. While in the chrysalis, the butterfly does not move or eat. It will stay like a dead organism in this stage. Okay, but the metamorphosis is going on inside it. You cannot see it from outside. So the chrysalis is usually brown or green to help camouflage itself among the leaves and branches so that the predators cannot detect it. And inside the bag, the caterpillar transforms into a butterfly, and this process of transformation inside the chrysalis is known to be metamorphosis. Just like we have seen, metamorphosis, the word itself means the change. That means a series of change leading to the actually the overall conversion from one stage to another stage. So from being converted to the pupa stage to the adult stage, in case of butterfly, metamorphosis is carried out inside the sac-like structure called the chrysalis. Some butterflies are in their chrysalis for a few days, while others will be there for more than a year. Again, it varies according to the species. So, what will be their tenure inside the chrysalis will vary from species to species. And the last stage is the stage of the butterfly. When a butterfly emerges from the chrysalis, it can't fly right away. Why? Because their wings are wet and wrinkled. It had been inside the chrysalis. You can see here, it has just come out of the chrysalis structure. So now it needs time to gain its ability to fly. So the wings are actually, they are not so much free. As soon as it comes out, they are a bit wet because of the changes going around. There might be some fluids inside the chrysalis which will keep it alive for the timing that it was inside the chrysalis. So in that fluid, the wings that it has developed has become wet, and also it is wrinkled in the beginning because the wings are, you can see, very large enough. The size of the chrysalis is not so big. So in order to accommodate that structure of the leaves, it is actually present in the wrinkled form, and they need to hang vertically for anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours. So they will remain attached to the chrysalis like this for half an hour to more than 2 hours, in which their wings will dry, because just like we hang the clothes for them to dry, so the wings will also be hanged for becoming dry and full. That means they will be now become the plane from their wrinkle stage by hanging, and then they will gain back the ability to fly. So the fun fact is that butterflies can get too cold, their wings cannot function properly in this case, and so they must find some sunny spot. So it is very usual or very common to spot butterflies in a garden full of the flowers and which is actually sunny, because the butterflies prefer the sunny spots. They cannot withstand the cold temperatures, and also they need nectar from the flowers. So therefore, if you have got a beautiful garden in and then in a sunny day, bright sunny day, you can spot so many butterflies in your garden. Then the butterflies use their feet to test. Yes, butterflies, this is also in case of house flies also. So they are also in the same category of insects. In our case, we have got taste buds in our tongue, because of which we can check and then tell the taste of the food. But in case of butterflies, they have got taste buds in their feet. So once they step on certain type of food, they can tell what type of food it is and what is the taste. The fastest flying butterfly is the skipper butterfly, which can fly up to 30 miles per hour. So if you have any questions, then you can also let us know in our channel. And coming to the okay, now there is a tricky question. Rahul claims that a wooden log is non-living because it cannot move, but Priya disagrees, arguing that it is living since it comes from the trees. How would you support or oppose their statements? Do you have any answer to this? Okay, so let me clarify this. Yes, obviously wooden log has been obtained from the tree, and tree is a living creature, definitely. But when it is cut off from the living system, it is not having, or it does not possess the characteristics of the living organisms. Now that means whatever characteristics we have discussed for the living organisms so far, none of those characteristics will be seen in that wooden log once it is cut off from the living system. It has been detached from the living system. So therefore, it is no longer will be a part of that system. So it will no longer possess those characteristics. So it will be actually, we can say it will be similar to a non-living thing only, because it cannot, not only that it cannot move, but it will not be able to grow, it will not be able to reproduce, it will not be able to respond to stimuli. So because it has been cut out. So the wooden log is once, and for the time it is the part of the tree from which it is cut out, so then it would have been called a living creature or a living system. But once it has been detached and cut off, so then it is no more living. So this was all from the chapter, and thank you so much for being there with us, and I hope I have been able to explain this chapter and the topics up to the my level best. And if still, if you have any queries, do contact with us and let us know whatever else we can do for you further. So we'll meet again in the next class with another topic. Till then, take care of yourselves. Bye bye. Thank you so much once again.